for these upcoming weeks before you take the SHSAT, because, you know, it can get very stressful. And like I said earlier, we want to make sure that you're stepping into test day in the right mindset, putting your best foot forward. So the first stress management tip is very, very important. The night before the test, you should not be studying anything new. You should not be learning any new content that you have not yet learned. Students should refrain from studying anything new the day before the test. Students can lightly review old Kweller Prep SHSAT materials or actual released SHSAT exams from the handbook or practice questions throughout the day, but only briefly. So if you were here for last week's webinar, I spoke at the end how the day that I took my SHSAT, I had my sort of cheat sheet from Kweller with last minute things that I needed to review, formulas, concepts that, you know, it's just good to have as a refresher. And these are the sort of things that you want to be studying, reviewing the day before and the day of the test. No, you're not going to be picking up your textbook and learning a brand new topic, because what this does is overwhelms your brain, and it's just not going to have you in the right mindset for the test. So students should avoid spending 10 hours studying SHSAT questions the day before the test. By studying intensely the day before, they will likely burn themselves out from stress and not give their minds a much needed break. The brain muscles need a break too. So you should skim, not study, you know, do brief review. Because at that point, you know, you have spent weeks, months studying for this test. You know everything you already need to know. And it's just about refreshing your mind about the concepts you want to have right at the front of your mind when you go in for test day. Cramming the night before the test is going to interfere with your long-term memory, and it's just going to not have you be in the best mindset for the test. Like I said, students have learned everything they possibly can at this point, and they should review what they already know. And, you know, parents, you need to remind your children that they have worked so incredibly hard and they are well prepared to take this test. So cramming the night before, it's just gonna put you at a worse spot, you know. And, you know, words have power. Remind your children to engage in positive self-talk. Keep the energy high and happy at home. One of the most important things is like having good energy and surrounding yourself with good energy, especially the day before important exams. So that's the energy you want to be bringing in for the SHSAT. And this is the guide we went over last week, and that has 2 practice tests that you can take before the night before the exam. And, you know, you don't want to be
And then if you could add your own, and Malena's going to add her own experience, but I just want to tell you, if you need to choose between an hour of sleep or an hour of study the night before the test, make sure you sleep. So if you have to choose how you want to spend your time, making sure your brain cells are rested is the #1 priority before the test. You will need an hour of sleep, much more than you will need an hour of learning an extra math formula. You cannot enter this test exhausted and tired, because you're not going to retain and remember. And Malena, again, I love this webinar so much because you can speak so freely, and this is super unscripted. You're welcome to add or support anything that I'm saying. I'm going to go back on mute.
Yeah, and this is incredibly important, what Ms. Kweller is saying about prioritizing sleep, especially the night before the exam. And this doesn't apply just to the SHSAT. Before any important event, exam, whether it be for getting into high school or any other exam that you're going to take for the rest of your life, that night before, you need to make sure that you're getting enough sleep so that you can come to the test being well rested. I remember the night before my SHSAT, I was not cramming. I was not trying to study. I had, like I said earlier, my 1-page review sheet that I was reviewing lightly, and I made sure I had a good night's of sleep. And, you know, you want to be aiming to get more sleep than you usually do, because I know personally the night before a test, I might be anxious. I might be tossing and turning. So, you know, the 8 hours you're in your bed might not be 8 hours that you're actually sleeping. So if you aim for more, you can get a good night's of rest.
And if you know that you have a really big event, for example, the SHSAT, if you know that you have a huge event, start planning the week before, start planning a lot of sleep. Like, I know, in all honesty, I have a very busy week. I have 2 high school tours I'm running this week, which you should have. Like, my week is nonstop. So I made sure that I am super well rested 3, 4 days in advance because I am going to be nonstop this week. So really monitor your sleep hours, not the night before the test, but quite frankly, the whole week before the exam. Make sure that you're on the sleep button. Go ahead.
Yeah, and like Ms. Queller said, sleep is a habit, so you need to start getting used to that. Your body will not adjust just the night before to get a good night's of sleep. It needs to be something that you've been doing for at least a week. And it's also just a good practice to have in your life every day. So, stress management tip number 2, bring a hard copy of your admissions ticket. This is one of the most important things because you might be the most prepared person in terms of knowing the content, being prepared for the questions, but you need to make sure that you can get in and actually take the test. So be prepared for test day. If you're taking the SHSAT at your local public high school on Wednesday, November, oh, this is the date from last year. You have to show up to your school and take the paper version
Oops.
of the exam.
This year the test is October 30th, so just remember that. And then November 16, 17. Okay, go ahead.
Um, so if you're taking it October 30th, you don't need to bring a ticket. However, if you are a non-public school student taking the SHSAT on a weekend, you should bring a hard copy of your admissions ticket. And you have to make sure that all the information is correct, and you want to make sure that you do this with time. You don't want it to be the night before the exam and you're stressing, logging into your My Schools account, and being stressed that you can't print your ticket. Do everything in advance. You don't lose anything by doing things in advance. You just gain peace of mind, and that's ultimately what you need going into test day. I know this is something that my mom has always taught me, being on time for things, doing things in advance so that you're never stressed, especially before such an important exam. Also ensure that you have at least 5 sharpened pencils, a high polymer or high quality eraser, your student ID, favorite snacks, and a small water bottle. You want to make sure that you have all the materials that you need to succeed on this exam. I know it says 5, but you don't lose anything by bringing more. One could break, one could be uncomfortable. There could be so many things, and you don't lose anything by being extra prepared. So take that initiative to bring the extra pencils, have your eraser, your student ID, favorite snacks. Test day can get long, and even though you can't eat during the exam, you can snack before and after, and you want to make sure that you're not worrying about like your body, that you're not taking the test and your stomach is grumbling. That is going to disrupt you.
And I just want to remind you, Malena, remember you said last time you were stuck in that test room for an hour. So after 3 hours of taking the test, an hour in the line, hour 4, you were still there for an hour to do nothing. So that's your snack time, right? Like, you can use your snacking opportunities during that window.
Yeah. And you're going to be there probably. I was there for an hour after the exam, as Ms. Kweller said. So you just want to have something to do. Also, you want to be smart about which snacks you're bringing. You don't want to bring something that's going to be messy, that's going to get your hands dirty, especially if you want to eat it before the exam. So something that I always bring to exams is like granola bars with the wrappers, so your hands don't get dirty. Because you don't want to have any issues right before taking the exam. And then a small water bottle. You want to be hydrated, but you want to refrain from overeating or over drinking before the test. You want your stomach to be calm. You don't want to be worrying about anything, your stomach being unsettled. Also, you don't want to be wasting time going to the restroom during the exam because those are minutes that you don't get back. If you go to the bathroom for 5-10 minutes, it's not like they're going to give you that extra time at the end of the test. So you want to be strategic, go to the bathroom before, and don't drink too much water so you can avoid that situation.
And quite frankly, don't bring a huge water bottle with you. Like, don't bring a thermos, because when you're nervous, you're just going to drink a lot more by accident. Just don't even bring it to begin with. Take a baby water bottle with you. This is not the time to be ultra overly hydrated. You're not running the New York City Marathon. So Drinking a lot is something very dangerous before this exam. By the way, and we will get to this, but the sugary drinks, definitely a no. It's super danger zone if you have too much liquid before this test.
Yes, so some students do not have a school ID or any ID at all. In that case, just bring your admissions ticket. You can log into the My Schools dashboard to print your admissions ticket. These tickets will be ready on My Schools website about a week before the test date. As soon as these tickets are available, you want to print it out. Because there are thousands of students taking the SHSAT. The night before the exam, everyone is logging into the My Schools website to try to print their ticket. And what happens in these situations is that the system can crash. And so you might log in and it's going to say, oh, this is unavailable, and you won't be able to print your admissions ticket. So to avoid a situation like that, you're going to want to print your ticket with as much time as in advance as possible. For weekend testers, do not wait until the last minute to print a copy of your SHSAT admissions ticket. The My Schools website may crash. There are tens of thousands of students taking the SHSAT. Don't rely on the website working well the night before to print your ticket. So again, being prepared, doing things in advance. This is what the website has looked like when it crashes because so many students are logging in to print their ticket last minute. Don't be one of those students. And this is what it's going to look like. So you just want to make sure that you have your ticket, that you have everything you need for when you go and take the exam.
And I want to add the same applies to college. At Kweller Prep, we offer expert college application help. It's a huge mistake, huge, to wait until the last minute to apply to college. The CUNY websites crash, the SUNY will crash. I mean, this is across the board. Don't wait until the deadline when everyone is using these websites, because these websites are not reliable and you just can't do it. It's a huge mistake.
And yeah, especially I just finished the college admissions process. I was always submitting things early, having time in between, be doing things in advance because, God forbid something happened that the website crashes and you don't get to print your ticket or submit your application. These are important tests and applications that are going to affect your life. You lose nothing by doing things in advance and you prevent horrible things from happening. So stress management tip number 3, pack extra. Masks are not required, but it's a good idea to pack one just in case. Pack an extra hand sanitizer too. You can never be safe enough. Extra sharpened pencils, an eraser, and a snack. Anything you don't use, you can take back home or discard. So you lose nothing by bringing a little something extra. You never know who's going to be sitting next to you, if they're going to be coughing the whole time. You might feel comfortable just having a mask just in case. Or, some wipes or some hand sanitizer. Maybe you get there and your desk is a little dirty. You want to wipe it down so you have the best situation to take your exam. You want to, be prepared. But again, you don't want to overdo it and bring 3 gallons of Purell. That's not going to help you. It's just going to stress you out. So, do things in moderation. Have things and be prepared. But be aware of the situation and the fact that you're about to take a test. Stress management tip number 4. I like this one. Listen to relaxing music during the week, evening leading to the test. Your mind and body must rest the days leading to the test, not just the night before. So this is something I do in my day-to-day life when I'm doing homework. Listening to relaxing, chill music is proven that it relaxes your brain and stimulates and boosts energy levels. So this is kind of the energy that you want to bring into the exam the night before. You don't want to be stressed out. And if you've done everything right, if you've done things in advance and you're not stressing about your admissions ticket, you want to get into that mindset where everything is calm, relaxed, and playing some relaxing music can help with that. And this is a habit. So this is something you don't have to start the night before the exam. You can do this right now and just have a practice of every night going to bed with a calm energy and having a calm mindset. So
I want to also add, when you're done, just tell me, and I'm going to add to that also. Maybe what you'll do is you'll finish and then tell me when. I'll bounce off you. Good. Okay, go ahead.
No, just you want to have this practice for when the day that you go into the exam, it's something that you've been doing for a while and your brain is accustomed. So you're not trying anything new. Yeah.
So that also applies to like staying away from bad energy. And Malena, I hope we can both be very honest. So there are like certain friends who you just need to stay away from, acquaintances, frenemies, whatever you want to call them. But these are people who will really like psych you out and stress you out before the test. Oh my God, I'm so nervous. I can't think. I'm crying. I'm throwing up. Like someone who when you see that person on caller ID, don't pick up. And listening to music, of course, that is depressing, upsetting, end of the world, Instagram, current events, I mean politics, like just stay away from anything outside of like Mozart and piano and baby Einstein music. Like just stay away from the stress. Identify a stress and just walk away. Just walk away from the stress because engaging in it is a horrible idea. You have a limited reserve of energy. You cannot waste your energy on anything right now. You need to conserve it for the test. Done.
Yeah, so essentially what you want to do is protect your peace. If there are certain people that you could talk to that is going to harm your peace, stress you out, that is not something you want to engage with the night before the exam or the week before the exam or maybe even in your life at all. But, especially the night before the exam. These are people you can always talk to the next day after you've taken the exam that's going to decide what high school you go to. So it's important that you put yourself first and, listen to relaxing music. Don't listen to the news. The night before big exams, I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and I take care of myself. Um, because ultimately it's you going into that test room. It's not you and your friend or you and this horrible news. No, it's you and your mind and your body, and you need to take care of that first before everything.
And I want to add, this is so important. No matter what, do not create a shield, a shield. Do not let yourself get rattled up before the test. If you fight with your brother, your blood, your sister, mom, dad, I don't know, grandma, if someone is going to give you a trigger and get you rattled and stressed, please make it your choice. Just stay and take a break. Stay away. If your brother is going at it with you and you're arguing, listen, in my case, I have 3 children. I tell my children, just go to a separate room. No, he did this, she did that. Who cares? Just go to a separate room and no one's doing anything. Whatever you need to do to protect your tranquility and your peace, make sure you protect your peace. Got it? Build a wall that is imaginary and pretend that's around you and do what you need to do to be calm entering that exam. Please listen to this advice. It is time tested, it is solid. And with the relaxing music, that is a very intentional choice. Alexa, by the way, has it's like I call it chill music. I say, Alexa, play chill music. And then boom, I have my chill music. All right, keep going.
Yeah, so protecting your peace, your tranquility, putting yourself first. Okay, stress management tip number 5. Trouble sleeping, put your cell phone on do not disturb mode and practice mindful meditation. Half hour before bedtime, go to sleep. Mindfulness is a type of relaxation technique in which you focus on being aware of what you're sensing and feeling in the moment. This is a great time to express gratitude for what you've accomplished so far. Practicing mindfulness involves slow breathing methods, guided scenic imagery, and other practices to relax your mind and body. So again, this is getting at the same idea that you want to be in a good headspace, bring good energy with you on the day of the test and the night before. So like I said earlier, I put my phone on do not disturb the night before exams. And something you can do is practice mindful meditation. So what this involves is relaxing, closing your eyes, becoming aware of what's around you. The thing that's like, what are 5 things that you can see, 3 things that you can smell, 4 things that you can touch, etc. To sort of ground yourself and realize that this is you in the moment. It's just you and your mind so that you can put your best foot forward on the day of the exam. The night before the test, any sort of last minute cramming, planning, stressing, problem solving, daydreaming, thinking negative or random thoughts, it's going to be draining and it's not going to benefit you in the long term because you need to take a test and that's the priority. So you need to get yourself in the mindset that everything is okay. You are prepared. You have spent weeks and months preparing. So you are as prepared as you will ever be. And realize that you are prepared for this test and allow your mind to relax and be proud of yourself, and be grateful for all the support that you have had, Kweller, your family, your school, your friends that have allowed you to get thus far in the process because you are so close to the finish line.
So I'll add, so what you'll do is actually, if you say done, then I'll switch. That's what we'll do. You'll say done, then I'll switch over and I'll say done. I want to add my own personal experiences. And Malena, you hear me perfectly fine, right? I just want to make sure. So obviously I like to operate at 100 miles an hour. I'm always moving. And when I first heard of mindfulness and mindful meditation, I thought it was ridiculous. So like the woman was like, relax your nose, relax your ears. I'm like, this woman is nuts. So I remember thinking, this is ridiculous. I am not relaxing my nose. Lo and behold, I tried it. It actually works. When you focus on relaxing your shoulders, relaxing your nose, relaxing your eyes, when you begin to put a cold cucumber on your eyes and then you put on this music and you light the candle and the candle has a lavender scent and you have a eucalyptus bath, next thing you know, you actually start to wind down. So this stuff works. I have tried it myself. And these methods are true tools that will relax you and put you in a mindset to succeed. And that's what you need right now. You'll notice during any sports games, there are always cheerleaders. There's a pep rally before homecoming. Why do we need a pep rally? Why do we need cheerleaders? Because we need to get into that positive mindset. So remember, there's science supporting this behavior. Done.
Yeah, something I recently invested in was a diffuser, and I have lavender and eucalyptus essential oils, and this helps me focus and feel great when I'm studying. And, essentially what I'm just trying to say is you want to surround yourself with things that make you feel better. So whether that is a diffuser or classical music or practicing mindful meditation, you just want to create an energy that will allow you to thrive for exam day. And there's a bunch of YouTube videos where it's like guided meditation, and you can follow that, and they're easy to follow, and it just makes you feel better and more relaxed.
Before we switch to the next one, I want to tell you with assurance, listening to this the week before the test is going to put you in the right mindset. Don't listen to like healing naturally meditation at 10 p.m. the night before the SHSAT. That's not going to get you to where you want to be. So try this a week before. And this actually works on parents as well as it does on children, because the parents are also very stressed with this exam and it's high stakes and there's so much publicity around it. And there's so many different Facebook groups and it's like all over. Everyone just needs to do relaxing things the week leading to the test, not the night before, the week before. Done.
Okay. Moving on to stress management tip number 6. Some students will take the SHSAT at their middle schools, others will take it at DOE central test locations. Stress management tip number 6 is to arrive at the test center early, allowing yourself plenty of time to enter calmly. Once inside, identify the locations of the nearest bathroom and exits. So if you were here for the webinar last week, I mentioned that I actually visited my test location, Stuyvesant, before test day. So I could practice the commute and identify where it is I was exactly going to, because I'd never been to Stuyvesant before. It was unfamiliar to me, and I didn't want to leave anything to chance for test day. So this is something I recommend you do if you can. If you're taking it at your high school, obviously you're going to be familiar. If you're not, please take the time to make that commute before, because you don't know what could happen. You could get lost. Google Maps might not be telling you the right route to take. There might be traffic. The subways might shut down. There's a lot of things that could go wrong, but being familiar with the route might prevent a lot of them. So, taking the extra precaution, you don't lose anything by being extra prepared. You might wait in line for a while before you enter, so be sure to take food, money, and even a Kweller Prep packet to skim lightly. And you have to throw it out before you get into the exam room, because obviously you can't have that while you're taking the test. Do not study anything brand new on exam day or the night before the test, like we mentioned earlier. At this point, it's only reviewing basic things that you already know, because you don't want to overwhelm your mind. And again, making sure that you're prepared, that you have like an exit strategy with your family. I know when I took the SHSAT, I planned to meet up with my mom at a pizza shop that was near Stuyvesant, because I didn't go into the testing site with my phone, because I just didn't want to risk that. And we'll talk about that a little later. But your phone can accidentally go off. You can get a text, or an Amber Alert can go off, and I just didn't want to risk anything interfering with the test. So I just didn't bring in my phone for test day. So what that meant, though, is that I had to have a meetup point with my family for after the test. So, taking a day or an afternoon to go to your test site, scout everything out, figure out exactly what your plan is going to look like for test day, is going to make you feel so much prepared for actual test day, so that you aren't stressed. The only thing on your mind on test day should be going in and absolutely being amazing and doing your best on the SHSAT.
You can also, done, right? Done. You can also go on Google Maps and do a satellite look, and you'll see a real-time view. So identify, where's the pizza shop, where is the library, where is a proper meeting place where I can meet mom, for example. I don't recommend that you go to some like wild party with your friends. Oh, my bar mitzvah is at 12:30. The test ends at 12 o'clock. I mean, you're not going. So I highly, highly recommend that you don't have this like heavily stimulating activity that you are planning to do, that you oddly have to get dressed up for and put makeup on or whatever. Like, I really recommend that you keep it mellow after the test. Just meet up with a parent or guardian or sibling, someone who is really just trusted. And I don't recommend that you do or plan or schedule like a marathon or something overly stimulating after the test. Malena, can you share, like, what did you do after the exam? Did you like go to a concert? I mean, what did you do after this exam?
I did not have any plans after the exam. I think I went to go eat with my family to sort of celebrate um, finishing this marathon that is studying and prepping and taking the SHSAT. But no, I was not going to any parties, any concerts, any festivities. Also, you're just going to be mentally exhausted after the SHSAT, so I don't think anyone is even going to be in the right headspace to be able to be going to any social events. Um, and I think the important thing is, if you do have something planned after the SHSAT, part of your brain is going to be worried about that plan you have after. And you want your brain 1000% focused on taking the SHSAT and scoring the best you can. So prioritize your future, the test that's going to determine the high school you're going to go to, and don't go to any parties or concerts or events after the SHSAT.
And I want to add, I listen, I'm just going to put it out there. I think it's a very bad idea to meet up with 10 or 12 friends who just took that exam. You're going to start comparing answers. You're going to start comparing questions. Yeah, I just think it's a very bad idea to have this like friend group where all you do is dissect every single test. Listen, in the end, you took the test, it's over. Don't think about it. Now that the test, those of you who took the test on October 30th, who will be taking it, the very next day is Halloween. Enjoy the day. You deserve it. But to have a situation where after a grueling 3-hour exam, an hour before, an hour after, you're on the line, this is 6 hours, you probably are not going to sleep so great the night before. And to spend the time after this exam is over, to spend 5 hours with friends dissecting every single question and psyching yourself up, I just think it's a very bad idea to meet up with a large friend group and talk about the test. I want to add, there are 10 different versions of the SHSAT. 10. Yes. Do you hear me? So even if you try to compare with friends, you won't be able to do it. By the way, the exam, it has 57 questions reading, 57 questions math. 10 of them are experimental. The last thing you want to do is be in your friend group after this exam, getting upset over what likely could be answers to experimental questions where there are 20 of them on this exam. They only score 47 out of 57 in each section. I really, really want to put it out there. And I know it kind of sounds like I'm telling you to be a hermit and not be social, but there's simply no need for you to start talking about the test. The last thing I want to add to this topic, you have friends and classmates who may take this test 2 weeks later. They're all different versions. You don't want to psych them out. You don't want to jeopardize your score. You don't want to put your test results in jeopardy. I would not. I really just think it's such a mistake. Like, people go on Facebook groups, they go on Reddit. Reddit is very popular, and they start talking about the test. I just think it's a huge mistake. And the last thing you need is for that to be traced back to you. In the month of April, you can do a test view. You can see your exam, and this is it. I'm going to stop. Malena, go ahead.
But yeah, once the test is over, it's over, and you don't want to psych yourself out by talking to other kids or potentially get your test scores invalidated. So be smart. Once you've taken the test, move on, celebrate, enjoy Halloween, and don't do anything that could invalidate your score. So the school testing day, as we mentioned earlier, is Wednesday, October 30th, 2024. These are the other dates. Please make sure that you have the right date, that you know all your information. Making sure you have the correct information could prevent things that potentially could have gone wrong. So, just being smart. And sign up for the SHSAT on My Schools Early. Again, you want to do everything in advance. Don't leave anything up to chance. Stress
Well,
management.
let's actually just go over the testing locations. I do want parents to know that, just so they have a rough idea of what they're getting themselves into with locations. So Stuyvesant, is 345 Chambers. That's easy. So let's just quickly give them an idea of what they're getting themselves into. We just passed it. It was higher up, I think. Yeah, they're there. Perfect. If you could zoom that, make it larger. So if you could quickly just go over roughly where each school is. Okay, go ahead. I mean, you're very familiar with Bronx, but let's start. Okay.
So I went to Stuyvesant. That was my testing location. It's in Lower Manhattan. You can take the 1 or the AC lines to get down there. Again, highly recommend that you either go visit or that you put it into Google Maps so you know what your route is. Bronx High School of Science. That's where I went. Love the school. You can take the D or the 4 to get there. As I mentioned earlier, trains can be sometimes unpredictable, so you want to make sure that you're getting there with time to spare. So in Brooklyn, there is Brooklyn Tech. I'm not exactly familiar with the other specialized high schools as much, but
So I can add to that. So Brooklyn Tech, it's all the way down. So Fort Greene Place, getting into Brooklyn Tech could take you 20 minutes. It is a huge building, and walking around that building is legitimately a zip code. So please get there, especially early if you're testing. That is a huge school. It's actually the largest specialized high school. It has 5,000 kids. So, and there's no sign on the door. It was so when Kweller Prep runs tours of Brooklyn Tech, I print my own signs so we know where to go. Like you're never gonna figure this out, and it's very, very hard. Just keep that in mind. Let's keep going. What else? Where are we?
There's James Madison,
That's for the, yeah, extra kids. We'll go there. We'll keep going.
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest has metal detectors, so just kind of get ready for that. Like no bracelet, no necklace, no like it's going to take a very long time to get into that school. Long Island City also, Staten Island same. LIC also has metal detectors, so just get ready to. So you want to add an hour and then add an extra 30 minutes. I think 90 minutes is actually very reasonable. Give yourself 90 minutes before the test start to arrive to this exam.
Yeah. Moving on
Done.
to stress management tip number 7. Eat breakfast before the exam and snack before you enter the exam room. Make sure to eat even if you usually skip breakfast or avoid eating when you are nervous. Your brain needs the energy from food to work efficiently. So one of the things we don't want to happen is that you go into test day and you're taking the test and you're not feeling well, you don't have energy, your stomach might be hurting. You want to prevent that, so make sure you eat a good breakfast. One thing that could happen, as Ms. Kweller mentioned, you want to get there in advance, preferably 90 minutes at least. So if you're waking up early and you have a long commute, you might be eating breakfast hours and hours before the test actually starts. So you want to make sure you have a snack for when you get to the test site so that you're not hungry during the test, because you don't want anything to be distracting you. You need to keep your mental focus on the exam and not your hunger. If you cannot stomach food, try having a protein shake or smoothie. Also, eat brain boosting protein rich foods, which can lead to greater mental alertness. Healthy food choices on exam day include eggs, nuts, yogurts, and cottage cheese. Furthermore, a good breakfast combinations might include whole grain cereal with low fat milk, eggs, toast with jam, porridge, and oatmeal. Other brain foods are fish, walnuts, blueberries, sunflower seeds, flax seeds, dried fruits, and figs. So, being smart about the food choices that you're making on exam day, because you don't want to be hungry and you want to make sure that the foods you're filling your stomach with are going to help you take the exam and perform well. Done. So here you can see some of the brain foods.
Oh, I didn't hear you say the done thing. So I want to tell you what are terrible brain foods, horrible non-brain foods, okay? These advertisements you see for energy drinks, and for some reason they actually solicit, they cater, they try so hard to get this teenage market to buy into this garbage of energy drinks. It is a huge mistake for someone to have a Red Bull or anything that is that level of stimulant before the exam. Huge, huge mistake. Diuretics besides the bathroom, taking a drink like Starbucks espresso shots, double espresso. Quite frankly, even a frappuccino, because that has espresso. Um, Anything heavily caffeinated. I really want to touch upon the Red Bull, which is a huge mistake. You will already have adrenaline in your body, the hormone. You will already be psyched for the exam. You actually do not need an ounce of coffee or caffeine or Red Bull, or I don't even know what this stuff is called, monster drinks. I don't drink them, but I see them marketed all the time to teenagers, and it's so upsetting. This is absolutely not what you need. Do not fall into the trap of having an energizer drink. It will not energize you. It will actually probably cause brain fog, if anything. Done.
Yeah, so just making sure you're being smart with your food choices. For example, I know myself, I know that coffee makes me really anxious. So the last thing I would be doing on the day of the SHSAT is going to Starbucks and getting a coffee. You can go after the test is over, celebrate, treat yourself to something, but don't do anything that might jeopardize your well-being and state of mind for going into the test. And these are just more brain foods. Stress
And
management. Yeah.
oh, the last thing. If you have never had a coffee, now is not your time. So please be mindful. If you're not like a regular Gatorade drinker in the morning, or if you're not a regular Dunkin' Donuts iced coffee with caramel, if that's not you on a regular basis, this is not the day to experiment with a brand new meal. Oh, let me try out the brand new restaurant down the block. No, don't do it. No foreign food that you've not had. No, let me try something new. Don't do it. Peanut butter and jelly. Keep it simple. Keep it simple, simple, simple with foods that you are used to having, that you know your body will process without any issues or stress. Done.
Oh. Stress management tip number 8. Pack a lucky charm. A lucky penny, rabbit's foot, red string, bracelet, a gift from mom, favorite pencil, favorite Kweller Prep, or anything small you feel will bring you good luck. You want to bring good energy with you to test day. And this is something I strongly, strongly believe in, and something my mom has taught me. One thing that she always tells me is when you're going in for a test or an interview, stepping into the building with your right foot, because it's like stepping in like right foot forward, starting on the right foot. Um, and this is something I do even today, now being in college. I'm not with my mom all the time, but this is something I continue because it's something that brings me comfort and gets me in the good energy for something that is important. So this might look different for everybody, whether that be a penny or a lucky bracelet or a lucky pen. You want to bring that good energy with you for test day. Done.
So in my years of schooling, my mom like packed me these lucky pennies, and I always felt good. Like I would look at this penny and I felt like she got me a rabbit's foot at the 99-cent store back then. I mean, stuff actually was $1. That's how old I am. There, like the dollar store actually had dollar items. Anyway, here we are. And all these years later, like I really loved the charms. And now I have my children. My parents continue to give lucky charms. My parents also had a lot of superstitions. I mean, it stuff, maybe it's an immigrant thing, but I don't know, like it works. My parents said when you leave the house, like if you forget something, don't return. So that like that's always like in the back of my mind. Like I left. I need to physically leave, and coming back is bad luck. And like I have certain things that are in my head before an exam that I just won't do. And I pack everything the night before. I would recommend take it to another level. Plan out exactly what you're going to wear, plan out exactly what you're going to do. Don't go back into the house. My parents even like there's even before you travel, you have to sit in the bed for a second, then you get up and leave. Like these little superstitions, you know what? We don't know, and maybe they are just crazy, but I am, if I see a cat, I'll reverse that car. And if I see a ladder, I will not be walking under it. Look, just in case these superstitions are accurate, I am not taking my chances. And having a lucky charm bracelet might do the trick where you look at it and you feel good. I mean, it makes you feel good. Maybe it's like a little bit of a perfume that you like, or a lotion that you like, or a scent, something that makes you feel good before the test. My mom also always used to give me like a little bit of like Hershey's chocolate. So she was all about like getting some chocolate in before the exam. And then years later, I came across articles where chocolate actually does, there are ingredients that help you with processing and boost your mood. So just keep that in mind. Also, anything that will put you in an elevated mood of happiness before this exam, like go for it. It brings you good luck. It makes you feel good. So, you know what? Just go do it. Done.
Perfect. So, doing things that'll make you feel good. And we don't want to take our chances with these superstitions, but at the very least, like Miss Collar said, that lucky charm might help you feel better, which could be that thing that gets you over the finish line at the SHSAT. So tip number 9, write encouraging letters. Parents, now is a great time to write your kids a letter. Remind them how far they've come and how proud you are of them. Remind them that this is just a test, and no matter the outcome, you love them and that they are stars in your eyes. Let them read the letter the night before the test. So you have all come so far throughout this process, spending all of your time putting in effort to study for this test. And everyone is so incredibly proud of you for making it this far. And ultimately, the SHSAT, it's just a test. Um, and so you don't want to be so stressed out about it that you don't want to be going down a slippery slope thinking this is the rest of your future and that if you mess up this one time, your life is not going to be good. That is not what you want to be thinking the night before the test. You need to be proud of yourself. And parents, like, let your kids know that you are proud of them, or siblings, let your siblings know that you're proud of them, or your friends who are also taking this exam. This is an incredibly stressful time, and we need to be doing everything that gets us into better moods and brings us good energy for going in to take the test. Done.
So I have heard this ridiculous phrase from the teenagers at Kweller, sty or die. So this sty or die mentality. And the kids are like, sty or die, sty or die. I didn't go to sty. I'm not dead. Malena didn't go to sty. She's doing pretty well for herself. She was in international news. CBS came to my business to interview her. We were on LTMPO earlier this month. I mean, we turned out perfectly fine. Neither of us went to Stuyvesant. Plenty of kids don't even make it a first choice. So there's this pressure, there's this odd peer pressure that you don't need. And we are living examples right now running this webinar. And quite frankly, I didn't go to Sty, and look what I do. So please remember this. In the end, where you go is not going to define you. It's what you do with that. It's what you do. Malena, I am confident you would have been successful at Forest Hills High School, at Hillcrest High School, at Bronx High School, at I don't know, Washington Heights High School, if it even exists. No matter where you would have gone, you would have been at the top. Richmond Hill High School. By the way, Kweller Prep student got into Harvard University, the only one in the history of the school. She was in the papers. You should not put on this pressure. I must get in to this one high school, and if I don't get in, it's the end of the world. I mean, I am telling you, do not put this pressure on you. Instead, you should remind your children, no matter where they go to school, no matter where they go, they will shine. And by the way, sometimes it's better to be a big fish in a small school, or a school that doesn't have students who are just like you and your caliber. I want to give you an example. Having 110 average at Forest Hills High School is pretty attractive to many, many colleges. So keep that in mind. It's okay. The most important tip that you should get from this particular one is write your kids a letter and remind them, no matter where they go, they're going to shine. They've worked hard. They've studied. I mean, they've put in time. They've put in sacrifice. This is your time. And if, there happens to be a moment where you wish they could have done more, I mean, the night before the test is not the time to have that heart-to-heart conversation. Save it. Don't have it. Let's only focus on positive vibes and positive energy. It's a choice. They say in life, 90% is reaction and 10% is the action. So your reaction, just keep it positive. And writing a cute letter, I actually really like it. So my parents write my children these cute little letters. I love you, Michelle. You're so smart. You're the best. I mean, my kids are like 5, 6, 7 years old, and they always write them these cutesy positive, like they're the best, they're a shining star. It's so nice. Like, I actually taped it, I laminate them. I find it as a really beautiful gesture. So when I was growing up, because I was born in the United States, my mother told me in this little apartment, and my parents, I grew up poor. I have a very different adulthood from childhood. When I was growing up, my mom is like, you can be the president of the United States. You were born in America. And like, I grew up, I'm 5 years old. I'm like, forget you people. I'm going to be president one day. Like, whatever you tell your children at a young age, they will remember that self-esteem boosting moment. So keep going at it. Just make sure that you put together a nice letter in writing. And who knows, maybe That's what they need to read the morning of the exam for some positive vibes. Only positive vibes allowed. Done.
Perfect. Just adding on, like a lot of these tips are getting at that you want to bring in good energy. And for you, this might look like writing your child an encouraging letter, but this could look like a bunch of different sort things. So having that in mind, just being positive and bringing good energy to test day. Also, dear Talena, I'm dear Malena, similar. But um yeah, so just having good energy and being positive, because that's what you're bringing into test day. Tip number 10, for those testing on the weekend, plan exactly where you will meet your friends or parents after the exam ends, before the exam starts. Choose the exact location, whether it's a grocery store or a specific building, 1 to 2 blocks away from the test center to meet back with your family. Remember, you have to turn off your phone in the exam room, but I didn't bring in my phone into the testing center. Um, so just having a meetup plan is important, and making sure that it's far enough away from the testing center that you can actually find your family. Because I remember the day of my SHSAT, it was so crowded on the block and the like next blocks around Stuyvesant that you would not have been able to find anybody if you had said meet at this corner, because there were just so many people, because there are hundreds and hundreds of students taking this test. So making sure that pick up that spot for the meetup is 1 to 2 blocks away so that you can actually find your family. Done.
So, with regards to how important meetup is, you cannot. So, you'll see there are parents who don't do this. Like, there are people who are not in this webinar. I know it's quite a shame. And they don't get this advice and they don't get this tip. I just want to tell you the day of that exam, get ready. There will be police officers, police barricades, the fire department is there. Quite frankly, the fire marshal might be there. So many kids are testing. So with the police barricades, like the parents are looking for their children. It's quite a scene. It's very chaotic. You shouldn't bring, like, if you have a baby, like a 1-year-old, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, like figure out daycare. It is very hectic. And what Malena said last time was that she was an extra hour after that she was stuck in the testing room. So this could be a really long amount of time. Please make sure that you have a location where you know that you will meet, and be aware that you can't figure it out because you don't know. You might be out of that room in 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. I mean, I just don't recommend at all. If possible, don't bring your phone, because you're right. What if an Amber Alert goes off? What if some kind of emergency? Next thing you know, you're dealing with a confiscated phone the day of the SHSAT. I mean, who needs this kind of stress? Done.
Exactly. And so, just being prepared, having a meetup point, and things could happen. You might be in the testing room like me an hour after. So being the best prepared you can be. Tip number 11, if you can, take the day off. For students taking the SHSAT, oh, well, this was for last year. Consider relaxing and taking the day off the day before the exam. So I believe this year, again, it's on a Wednesday. So consider taking Tuesday off, because ultimately this test is going to be more important than the attendance for one day. But if you want to keep perfect attendance, you can go in, get attendance in the morning, and then take the afternoon off to make sure you are 1000% relaxed before the exam and that there's nothing stressing you out. You don't want any drama at school or new assignments or tests to be stressing you out unnecessarily when the priorities should be the SHSAT. You can take a chill day and prioritize yourself. You can go for a walk, play a sport, walk your dog, things that put you in a good mindset. Nothing that is going to stress you out. Done.
So the kids are like, Kweller said that I shouldn't go to school the day before the test. I mean, you probably shouldn't go the week before, but that's not my say. I'm just telling you, if possible, go to school about an hour later, start coughing. Make sure you get picked up by a responsible adult who's on the blue card. I just sort of, that's kind of the idea. Yeah, if possible, take the day off. I kind of want to speak at this point from more experience. At Kweller Prep, we help many students with their college applications. Colleges look at grades 9, 10, and 11. You apply in 12th grade, at the start of 12th grade. No one is looking at your 8th grade attendance on October 29 and making a determination for your collegiate future. So please make sure that when you are at that stage, give yourself a break. I also want to add, I need to add this actually. Malena, remind me. I want to add, don't go anywhere like the night before. Like if someone, there's quite a big issue with the bar mitzvahs and the bat mitzvahs and the parties. By the way, for the SAT, there's a big issue with the sweet 16s. So if you you really shouldn't be going to like a big event with LED lights and whatever. Like really take that week to just relax. By the way, this year the test is right before Halloween, so I can't even understand why anyone would start going to a bunch of parties 3 or 4 days before this exam. Just keep a low profile before the test. Just study. Go to all the parties you want the day after the exam. Go travel, go enjoy your life. I have some parents at Kweller, they call me, oh, I want to book ABC travel plans, but the SHSAT date was not set. And my response is like, don't book anything. Wait until the test date. Like, what is the rush? There is no need to plan anything the night before. Why would you do that? You want to go play basketball with 5 kids who are also taking the exam? I mean, what on earth could you do that will benefit you the night before with a bunch of kids who are also stressed the night before? The best thing that you can do is to keep it really mellow before you have a big activity the next day. It's such a mistake to have this activity marathon leading to the exam. Whatever the Halloween plans are this week, they can wait until after. Everything can wait until later. My God, Photoshop yourself into a photo. Go next year. Use old pictures. Do whatever you have to do. Just don't get involved in having too many activities and stimulating yourself and stimulating your mind leading to the exam. It is a huge, huge mistake to be hyperactive before this test. Huge. Done.
Okay. So, keeping calm and protecting your peace and your mind and, taking your dog out for a walk. Tip number 12. Give yourself the gift of time management. Bring a watch to the test day and set it to noon. This way you can pace yourself to test the entirety of the 180 minutes. Once the proctor says you may begin, hit the timer on the watch, test from noon to 3 p.m. And according to your watch, it'll tell you how much time has passed since the start of the time. Because you don't want to be wasting your time if your test is at 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. You don't want to be spending moments like doing like quick mental math, like, oh, how much time do I have left? If you have your watch set to noon, you know exactly how much time you have left and how much time has passed. So these are just little things that you can do that will help you on test day and that you don't lose anything by preparing to do this. So this way you create a 3-hour silent timer. Also consider not wearing the watch, but instead placing it on your desk so you can glance at it more easily. So doing these little things, it might seem unnecessary, but ultimately, if it's going to help you, that's what matters. If you have extended time, make sure that you know what your accommodations are and that they are clearly marked on your admissions ticket and visible in My Schools. Remind the proctor of your extended time or IEP test accommodations before the test starts and confirm everything. If you make sure that everything is how it's supposed to, you're going to reduce your stress and be able to focus on the test itself. So make sure you bubble in your answers after each and every question. Don't do the thing where you answer everything in the booklet and then bubble in at the end, because you might run out of time. And at the end of the day, they are only grading that Scantron. So that sheet is like gold. You want to make sure that you are putting your answers after each question, so that if something were to happen, you have all those questions that you have gone through already on the bubble sheet. Done.
So as I get older, so I kind of just want to put it out there. So I am now 42 years old. So the younger version of me obviously did not do this. So I'm like telling you to do something that I myself didn't do. So I would rely on other people. For example, the test proctor to keep time. I would assume there was a clock in the room. And as I got older, then I took the SAT, then I took the LSAT, the law school exams. As I got older, I'm like, wait, like I cannot rely on these people because there's no clock in the room. I remember being very rattled. So I took the LSAT 3 times. The first time I took it, that's for law school admission. So the first time I took that exam, there was no clock in the room. And I was extremely rattled. The entire time I was rattled because there was no clock. And then I remember with the SAT, the year that I took it, there was also a New York Times article about how the proctor was like sewing. She was sewing this, like, she was crocheting. Can you believe this? So I remember thinking, wow, like I really need to get it together and I need to start relying on myself. It's very interesting because if you don't, like, why would you allow someone else to be in control of your time? So then I took the LSAT again, but remember now I'm older, right? So I'm now 10 years older and I've been testing quite a bit. So I took the LSAT the second time and the but now I have a watch, right? And I actually brought a silent timer because I was allowed to do that back then, as were many of us. And I had taken so many practice exams that were timed. So the proctor made a mistake. And the mistake, but again, everyone's older in the room. So the proctor made a mistake. She told us time 2 minutes, meaning we were done. Like we basically, she told us that we were done when we in fact had 2 minutes. Every hand in the room went up and corrected the proctor. I'm going to repeat this. Every hand in the room went up and we corrected the proctor. The proctor was wrong. So please remember, you need to be in control of your own time. If you have extended time accommodations, be in control of those accommodations. Get yourself a watch, go to Walgreens, get yourself one of those $10 cheapo watches, and they will do the job. Exactly what you need. You just need something and set it to 12, and you just need something to give you a clear picture, and you need to be in control of your own time because otherwise someone else is, and unfortunately they don't care. I mean, they're paid a proctor rate, like they just simply don't care. There's no incentive to care, so you need to be in control. Done.
Yeah, so you don't want to leave anything up to chance. Bring your watch, make sure you're prepared. So this is more tips about the reading passages. So you should be prepared for extremely lengthy, monotonous, 2-page long, tiny font reading passages. They are super long and super boring. Remind yourself that you are reading for points, not for entertainment. Set realistic expectations. Manage your time so that you try to ace all the math questions and then get as many reading questions as you can. The exam is about quantity. The more questions you answer correctly, the better. Keep your eye on the prize. Do not fall into the trap of reading every single word in the lengthy reading passage. We are not on the beach here. You're not reading for leisure. Read while holding a fully sharpened pencil and annotate as you read. Miss Color mentioned this a lot in the last seminar. You need to be actively reading, annotating, making sure you're getting the point of the passage and that you're not forgetting that you're taking a test. You know, you have to be actively listening, reading and thinking about the questions that are about to be asked. If it gets to a point where you run out of time or you're not sure, many students like to guess C, but I recommend you mix it up. Choose a letter answer choice that you have not picked in a while. Mixing answer choices is better for the algorithm. No matter what answers you choose, answer every single question. Don't leave anything blank on the Scantron because that is what's being graded, and you don't get penalized for getting things wrong. You get points. Even if you guess and you get it right, that is a point. So, don't leave anything up to chance. Um, if you don't finish questions, fill out the Scantron as fast as you can, and make sure that the bubble marks on your Scantron are like visible and deep and dark, because you don't want to be doing it lightly so that the machine doesn't pick it up. We don't want to take any chances on the exam. So, getting good pencils that you can mark darkly onto your Scantron what your answer is clearly, and if you make a mistake, erasing it completely. Because even if you get the answer right in your booklet, but it doesn't look good on the Scantron because you either didn't bubble it correctly, didn't bubble it dark enough, or made a mistake and the eraser just didn't do a good enough job at erasing your mark, you're not going to get the point, even though you got the question right. So you want to make sure you avoid that situation completely. Done.
So some kids, they like group bubble at the end. I mean, and then what they'll do is they read the whole passage. By the way, you should totally circle your questions because you could request a hand regrading. But again, that's a horrible path. Anything you do with the Department of Bad Education is a horrible path. Be ready. But there are some like they'll group bubble, and some people like I've had this was really weird. I had a student who did all 57 questions at the end, and then of course, so she winds up running out of time. So she grouped whatever, she basically takes all the reading comp questions, and then she begins this bubbling catastrophe, and she only bubbles 12. Anyway, the student turned out okay, but it was such a cautionary tale. And the mother called me very upset, but like, what could I do? Like, I didn't tell her to transfer 57 questions like at the end of an exam. So you just don't want to be in this type of situation to begin with. The only way to get out of this bubble, one at a time, and make sure that you just finished 13, you're on 13. That's a whole separate skill set you need to work on. Make sure that you actually are bubbling 13, you're bubbling 14. By the way, you can totally start the test backwards. I feel like I always tell the kids to start with math because it's more stimulating. So you can do that, but why would you bubble? Don't bubble at the end. It's really, really a mistake. Make sure you do everything one question at a time, slowly and steadily. Make sure that you also bubble completely. I mean, this is not your time to mess up. So be on top of that and that responsibility. When you're reading, you also have to hold the pen. We did this last week. Make stars, make symbols, put hearts, put plus signs, put minus. I mean, you need to keep your brain alive and alert and focused, and you can't just passively read. It's a huge mistake. You need to read like a ninja, like a warrior, like you're here. So I really like doing this. I would do a lot of positive self-talk during the exam. I would look at a passage, I would look at the questions, look at the answers, look at the passage, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill this test. Like the word kill, like KILL, like I'm gonna get this. Like I know this. Like I was very aggressive in my approach. I would basically psych myself up. I would tell myself, I am gonna get every question right now. And this method somehow worked where I always felt like I was going to crush the exam. And I want to stress, no matter how prepared you are, positive self-talk will go very far. So every time I looked at the passage, the questions, the answers, I did that. So we have another tutor, Mo Khan, and I believe, Malena, you had that tutor at some point, right? So he gave me a cute little tip. His tip, what he did was he quickly stepped out of the room when he switched to reading, and he splashed cold water on his face. And he felt that like 3-4 minutes where he left the room, went to the bathroom, maybe he peed, I don't know. But what he really taught me, he liked that he basically, when he switched to the reading section, he made sure to have cold water. You can also take like a Capri Sun because it's all metal too. Like you can just freeze it, just or stick a water bottle in the freezer or stick a Capri Sun in the freezer. Just have like ice cold something that's so that you can just really wake up that day. So keep that in mind. But whatever you need to do so that you're awake and alert during those passages. Done.
Yeah, so my internal monologue when I'm taking a test is actually very funny and entertaining. But when I'm doing multiple choice and I circle a question, I not only circle the question, I write the letter choice next to the question number, and then in my head I repeat 13 is A, 13 is A, and then I go and to my Scantron, find 13 and bubble in A because I am not willing to take any chances. Um, getting the question right, yes, that's good, but you need to make sure you get the credit for the getting the question right. Um, so in my head, 13 is A, 14 is B, repeating that. And this is kind of a watch that you would want to bring. Some people, like, I would recommend getting a digital one because you don't want to be like spending a second trying to figure out where the hands are pointing on the clock. This is just quicker, faster. Tip number 13, no matter what, use the bathroom before you start the test. Even if you don't think you have to go empty your bladder. Nerves can make you want to pee badly 5 minutes into the exam. Don't take any chances. Go to the bathroom right before. This is something that I do every test of my life. I don't want to waste time going to the bathroom during the test if I didn't have to. So, and that is entirely preventable by going before. You don't lose anything by going to the bathroom right before the test. And again, don't wait until the last moment right before the test because you might not be the only one, there might be a line. So as soon as you get into that test room, settle down, leave your stuff, go to the bathroom so you can be back in time for the test to start and you don't waste any of your testing time. Because, obviously this is a time test and your time is limited. You don't want to be wasting that by going to the bathroom when it's completely preventable. Um, you shouldn't have to rush the bathroom, avoid large cups of caffeine, any Starbucks, energy drinks, as Ms. Kweller mentioned earlier, sweet soda or juice before testing, or even just like large amounts of water. You want to avoid that. Be smart. Don't do anything that will jeopardize you or your test. It's a huge mistake to drink anything with excessive amounts of caffeine before the test. No coffee, Starbucks, energy drinks. The last thing you need to do is crash during the test and not being in your best headspace to do well in the SHSAT. Done.
So thank you so much for going through this piece so well. So before I leave my house, when I get into my car, short trip, long trip, whatever trip, I always go pee. I don't care if I have to go, if I don't have to go. This always happens 100% of the time. You never know. And I don't know if I'll be stuck. When you take your exam, you need to make sure, no matter what you do, that you are in the clearest mindset you can possibly be in. And the last thing that you need is to have to use the restroom. I cannot stress how important it is that you use the bathroom and go pee. I don't care if the toilet is dirty, go bring something clean, whatever it is, you must, the minute you get to that test location, identify where the bathrooms are. Got it? Use the bathroom. And no matter what, continue the test. I don't even know if I have that as one of my points. Malena, make a note of that also. Keep testing. This is also on my to-do list. Can you message that? I need to remember. No matter what happens when you're taking that SHSAT, keep testing. If you really, really have to pee, oh, fine, just go. Pee, come back, continue. No matter what you do, keep testing. I don't think I have this actually in the 15 points, so I'm going to add this in. This is very important. If the person sitting next to you the day of that exam throws up, barfs, pukes all over, and you have little tiny barf marks all over your exam, keep testing. If you have smells and stench from someone who vomited, just keep testing. If the girl to the left of you is crying hysterically, she didn't study enough, she doesn't know the material, She's very stressed. Keep testing. If you are stuck sandwiched between the puker and the and the crocodile tears, listen to me, just keep testing. No matter what happens, if there's an ambulance outside, keep testing. Please, no matter what happens, just keep testing. Also, getting back to the earlier point, advocate for yourself. If there's someone tapping his knee and it's distracting you, you raise your hand like a sharp arrow and you say, "Excuse me, Proctor, that boy tapping is distracting me. Please make him stop." This is your day. Pretend it's your birthday. Celebrate it like the queen. This is your day. No matter what, keep testing. The bathroom situation is beyond important because you holding it in while you're taking this exam can be catastrophic to your test outcome. And the last thing you need to do is to realize into this test that you should have gone pee before the test. It is a huge mistake. Go. No matter what you do before that test, go. It's a mistake not to do this. Done.
So tip number 14, you want to make sure you're the best, not only mentally, you have spent weeks and months preparing for this exam. On test day, you want to make sure that you are prepared physically. Pack a jacket or a cardigan or a sweatshirt, wear loose, comfy clothes, pack an extra layer of clothes in case the room gets too cold or too hot. You don't lose anything by being extra prepared. You don't know what your testing situation is going to be like. They might have the AC blasting and all the windows open and an air purifier and a fan going on, and it might be the coldest room you have ever been in your entire life. And packing that extra sweater might have saved you in that situation. Or wearing layers, and if the room is really hot, being able to take off a layer, that's going to help you feel better for the test. So you're not spending the whole test either shivering or sweating or being uncomfortable, because these situations are entirely preventable. Obviously, you can, as Ms. Kweller said, you can advocate for yourself. If there's like a situation that is too extreme, you should let your proctor know, see if they can do anything about it. But at the end of the day, that is ultimately out of your control. And what is in your control is what you pack and what you bring on test day. So bringing a sweater, wearing clothes that is comfortable, but also gets you into the mindset that you're taking a test. So I personally on test days, I'm not wearing pajamas because I want to signal to my brain that I'm not laying in bed, I'm doing something important. But at the same time, I'm not going to be going to the test site in a suit with a blazer and a skirt, because I want to be comfortable, and I don't want any clothes that's going to be like itching my skin, or any new clothes that I've never worn before. A theme from these tips is don't try anything new on the day of the test. No new food, no new studying, no new clothes, because you never know, like a new shirt that you got, it might be itchy and it might be bothering you the entire test, and that's just going to distract you and it's not going to help you perform well. The goal of your clothing choices on test day is comfort. This is probably the one day you can show up to school in your fuzzy bunny slippers and no one will judge you. Wear comfortable clothes. Don't worry about matching. Nobody's going to be judging what you look like on test day. Everyone is worried about themselves. Everyone is feeling exactly how you are feeling. They're stressed about themselves. Nobody's looking around judging what other people are looking like. Prioritize yourself and do the things that will make you perform well on the test. So dress comfortably, and wear clothes that are going to make you feel good, and prepare the clothes the night before. You don't want to be scrambling the morning of, running late to your test site because you couldn't find the sweatpants that you wanted to wear. If you plan your outfit the night before, you avoid that situation completely. And you also give yourself peace of mind that night going to bed. The night before the exam, knowing that everything is accounted for, prepared, that you know exactly what you're going to be doing the next day, it's going to help you sleep better. So every step you can take to prepare for what you're going to eat the next morning, what you're going to wear, that's going to ultimately just help you. And it's not a waste of time. And do the things that are going to help you succeed on the SHSAT, because that is the ultimate goal. Done.
So even if your room is too cold and even if you tell the proctor, I mean, can the proctor like control the building air conditioning? I just feel like it's highly unlikely. So reality is you should be responsible and bring clothing. I mean, even if they fix air conditioning, it could take an hour. And right now, the weather is changing so rapidly. So we had the air conditioner on at Kweller Prep this past weekend. It was cold, but again, the week before it was warm and we couldn't really predict. I mean, and then a few hours later it was warm. I mean, you can't predict what the temperature will be like every hour. The students in the morning were fine, in the afternoon they were cold. I mean, you really need to be on top of your clothing choices. In my car, I always pack an extra sweater I have for me, for my kids. So you just want to be ready. Like you just never know. So if there's a situation and you know that you're taking the exam, what is it to take an extra cardigan just to have it, right? I mean, is it really such a big deal to have an extra 5 pencils that day? Like, in the grand scheme of things, it's better that you have more than less. No one's asking you to take a suitcase. This is not international travel, but really taking an extra cardigan, a sweatshirt, it's not that big of a deal at all. It's really, really not. So just keep that in mind that you taking one or two bonus items, it's not going to hurt anyone, period. Done.
And tip number 15, breathe. Remember that this is only a test, and no matter where you go to high school, you'll succeed. Between sections on the test, take a deep breath, try to stretch out. Like Miss Kweller said, if you want, you can go to the bathroom and splash some cold water on your face. Take a moment to breathe after you've completed a tough reading passage. Regulating your breathing will help you refocus. This is a difficult test and challenging experience, but don't forget who you are and how hard you've worked to get here. We are so proud of you. You have spent weeks and months studying for this test, and you have worked hard, and you want to be proud of yourself going into test day. Lastly, remember that any high school will be lucky to have you, not vice versa. You're a gift to any high school you attend. So don't forget to breathe. And especially just coming out of the college admissions process, one thing that um, gets said a lot is it doesn't matter what school you go to, it matters what you do at the school that you're at. So you can go to the best school in the world, the best high school in New York City, but if you're not prioritizing your schoolwork, that being at a good school is not enough. And you can go to a school that might not have been your top choice, but if you are a stellar student trying your best, that is ultimately what's going to get you to succeed. So it's not just about the school that you're going to, it's about what you have in control, the effort that you put in, your dedication, your discipline. And ultimately, those are things that are under your control. And so remember to breathe, to relax, because this is not the ends of the world. Life goes on. You will excel at any high school that you go to, and any school is lucky to have you as a student. Done.
So just to keep going, and I'm totally going to use the I am older, wiser ticket right now because I mean, I am, right? So I'll use it. The reality is, like, I've been through many high stressful moments in my life, high stress moments. Just kind of breathe, like, you'll be fine. I will tell you this, when I was in school, when I was in college, when I was in high school, when I was in law school, I knew that I could outperform anyone in a room. So I was in college, let's say a lecture hall with 300 kids. I can outwork them. I can outperform them. I have the ability to work harder than the average person, and I'm going to get ahead. I don't think we're naturally like just gifted. Like at the end of the day, like I've worked hard. I pulled up all-nighters, right? Malena, you've done it. I mean, at the end of the day, like we are both children of immigrants and we actually get along very, very well, probably because we have that common thread. I mean, we just know that we know how to work. My parents had jobs and the jobs brought in money, which paid for stuff. Like it was always like A to B to C to D. And when push comes to shove, I just know that I can outwork someone. Kweller Prep has grown so dramatically over the years, but I mean, I put in the work, right? I sat for all these exams. I went to law school. I passed the bar in my first try. I mean, I'm not a lawyer by accident, right? I'm not, Malena's not accepted to 30 colleges because of chance. I mean, you put in the work. So the reality is that at this point, you know that you've worked hard. Just breathe. It's okay. You did the best you could. And at the end, it's always a shot in the dark. Well, you don't know if you're going to get in. You don't know if you're going to get in and then realize it was the wrong school and the wrong fit and the wrong borough. The reality is, you don't know. We're just trying to figure it out. And no one has it all figured out. They're lying if they tell you they do. This is reality. Just breathe. There's I really like it, the keep calm and carry on. Like I love it. I love the t-shirts and I love, like, it's true, just keep calm. And there's also the prayer. I can't remember the whole prayer. What is it? God, give me the strength to do you remember what I'm thinking of? Give me the strength to what, I forgot it. The what I cannot control. Give me the, I need to find the wording, but give me this, Lord, give me the strength to accept that what I cannot change. And just breathe. You'll be okay. Breathe, rest, eat, read the directions for the exam, go over the test, practice, just breathe. It tomorrow's another day. You'll be fine. No matter what, you'll be fine. And just remind yourself of that through breathing techniques. Done.
So I think that was all of the tips. Um, and just to basically recap, I think a lot of this fell under one, being physically prepared, having your ticket, having your clothes be ready, knowing the route, but also bringing good energy with you on test day, because that is equally as important. The space that you're in your mind and the energy that you carry with you, that is going to affect how you feel and how you perform on test day. So it's important that you prioritize that as well as making sure you have your ticket and you know everything and you do things in advance. Um, that is a recipe for success, and that's the best you can do. Prepare for the best and also prepare for things that might go wrong, so that if things do go wrong, you are prepared to handle that. Done.
Like there's so many instances in my life where I look back and I'm like, you know what? I did everything I could at that time. I look back, I do not have regrets. I did everything I could have done, and it's okay. And if A doesn't work, I have B, and if B doesn't work, I have C. You did everything you could. Take a deep breath, keep calm, and carry on. You will be fine. And stressing over this exam, it's not the place. Study as much as you can. You're going over the tips, you're going over the reviews. Many of you are in this webinar right now. You've done everything you can do. At this point, just breathe. Malena, can you change the settings? Because we are gonna send you a huge thank you for doing this, so that you are from doing this from Harvard University. Although your Kweller background looks very stylish. I love it. I love it.
I changed the chat settings to everyone.
So everyone, can you give Malena a huge thank you? So I'm going to type thank you into the chat. Ready? Thank you. Okay. It's a pretty big deal. Malena just turned 18 very recently. 17. She's here. Is this oh, look at all these thank yous. Thank you, Malena. Thank you. We'll
So,
send it to your mom. She'll be like, wow, I love it, right? I love it.
yeah, she asked me to send the link to
Thank you, Malena. Do you love it? It's very good.
She's very
It's very therapeutic listening to this. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
listening.
This, and I also want to take everybody off mute. So what I'm also going to do separately is I'm going to unmute everyone so that we can give you a huge thank you. Ready? Everybody, we're going to count to 3 and we're going to say thank you. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Malena.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. And
Malena.
thank you. And Malena just turned 18 a week ago. So our
Happy
last thing we'll do.
birthday.
Happy birthday to
To
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you.
Happy
Happy
birthday,
birthday, dear
dear
Malena.
Malena.
Happy
Happy
Happy birthday
birthday
to
to
you.
you. Ready? Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Feliz cumpleaños a ti. Malena, how does it feel to be 18 at Harvard University? Oh my God. Holy moly.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Enjoy. We're very proud of you. Thank you so much. And here is to a relaxing evening. All right, everyone. We're very proud of you. Some of you are typing in the chat, but Malena has to go study. All right. So I just want to remind you that you can email us any follow-up questions that you have. Okay. Please remember, you'll get your scores on the My School's website. Usually it's like a Friday after school. Okay. Enjoy, everyone. Good luck. Bye, everybody. Bye. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.